Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Once again, you are tuned in to The Encourager, and my name is Nehru. I want to go ahead and continue with our journal sharing this morning. I hope you've had an opportunity to listen to the angel number readings today. Some exciting things are happening for those of us who are on that timeline, and so let's go ahead and keep going with our journal through the journal that covers 2016 until this year. So again, much larger journal and quite a bit more information in it. But I did spend a good amount of time between 2019 and 2021 not writing in it because I was distracted to say the least. So again, as always, I hope you're doing well. I hope whenever this finds you, you are in good spirits and love and light is shining through you and on you. And if it isn't, know that it can be, but that must start with yourself first. And so let's go ahead and get going. All right. So we pick up on 224. Steve and a couple of them, I've mentioned their names many times. I'll mention their names probably several more times. Again, these are people that I was very, very, very close to. Okay. And so hung out, their house, whatever, all that, games and all sorts of things. Right. And so, you'll find their names in my journals often during the 20 years that I was there, a part of the Rock of Central Florida and Sanford, Florida. I received the fullness of the truth, not just a portion. Okay. And Steve had hired, I think there were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple. Yee, his name was Yee, and a wife named Kelly. And they were campus business managers for, I think, a brief time, actually. My strengths through natural eyes. So these are things, I guess, that I was recognizing as myself. Look at the first one. Again, 331. I thought I was an encourager. Promoter, relationship builder, charismatic, counselor, coach, love of business, entrepreneur, see beyond natural, bringing heaven and earth together. I wrote this 5 years ago. That's how I saw myself, my true qualities. Right, or passions, right? Okay. And all of those things are absolutely true today. The person that I'll be joined to in marriage, if they are not already an entrepreneur or business owner, they will be, because my journey is not to be joined to someone who is locked into man's 9-to-5 system. So for whoever that person is out there, and they're probably already an entrepreneur, but I'm just saying. And in fact, they are already. So I don't have to worry about those things. Most High has already looked out for those things for me. Thank you. So I used to get Kim, again, Steve Parker's wife. She's at the Rock of Central Florida. He's the senior minister. I used to purchase honey from her. There was a gentleman who lived in one of the neighborhood that they used to live in over in Lake County in Florida, and he would sell jars of this honey, and I would give her the money to buy it, and the jars of honey was $21. $21 is significant, or 21 is significant. We know that. And so I wrote that on 3/31/19. Kim gave me a jar of honey, and that one she might have given to me, and then I might have started purchasing them from her, which again, We sold into each other, various people in that house, and you'll see that in this journal. I've stapled things, I've taped things into this journal from those individuals that I've spent, 20 years with, in a lot of cases. Okay. So, let's see here. There's a rock family meeting. In the beginning, the land is our bread. That was something that they were told. It was a word to them. Confirmation. So this land is our bread. I don't know if that means that the land where I am now is my bread. I'm not sure what that means, but as soon as I said this land is our bread, that happened. So, yeah, there we go. Land prepared for us means we are the land. We and the land are the bread. Sorry. See, that was the noise came back for a moment. Church growth is evangelistic. One of the things that the gentleman who came to me in the Aldi store back in 2014, that was 10 years ago, he came to me. We went through that story in my previous journal. He told me, one of the things he told me, that my place is in full-time ministry and not, he said, as an evangelist specifically, but he said not doing anything else. He said, whatever you're doing, or what, I was on dialysis, so I wasn't doing much of anything other than a little bookkeeping work and stuff like that here and there. But he said, that is going to be your only occupation. And he called it evangelism, or being an evangelist, but I understand through the Spirit, it's the gatherer is the evangelist. Okay, that's the gatherer spirit. Okay, and so I understand it from that standpoint, not like evangelize, like Billy Graham, not like that. And yet at the same time, if ever it should happen that I fill up stadiums, then so be it. And it's not I, but Christ that lives within me. His cross will never ask for more than I can give. For it's not my strength, but His. And there's no greater sacrifice. For I am crucified with Christ, and yet I live. Yeah, so it's not my strength, but it's the strength of Lord of the Spirits, the great I am. So, 100 people added to our house by December 31st, and that was 2019, and that was something from Steve. I don't know if that happened. I never used the sign-in thing because I always believed that your faithfulness was enough. So if you showed up and I saw you in the seat, that meant you were faithful. I'm not one to be taking attendance. You either show up because you're hungry and you want the truth, or you skip out on class because you're ignorant and don't realize how valuable the truth is. Whichever your decision is, I honor that and I respect it. Like, I'm not trying to keep tally on who shows up and who don't. You know what I'm saying? The universe is doing that. Most High is doing that. You don't need to do that, church. And that's just one of those religious things that they did, that he said that they would never do, but they eventually did. Kind of like Obama, when Obama said he doesn't support same-sex marriage, but then to get reelected, he changed his mind. Anyway, so, yeah. So anyway, 25th anniversary. Oh, so yes. So next year, Steve has said for a long time that next year is going to be the year that he steps down from being the senior minister at the Rock of Central Florida. So that will be a marked year for them and a marked transition for them and all of that. He started that house, him, his wife, and their family and son and daughter-in-law and all that. They came from Panama City, Florida, started that house in 1999. I found out about them 3 years later. Again, everything's threes with me. 3 years later, I started getting cassette tapes, and that's how I became aware of them. I was in the military still at that time, finishing up an 8-year career. All right. And so, yeah. So next year will be a good key transition time for them if that is still what is going to happen. Okay. I wrote this down. Personal annoyance versus kingdom opportunity. Oh, see, I wrote it down. $21. Cost of the honey. Maturity. 21 represents maturity. I write down some of everything. But now I'm realizing that these journals are proof. Okay, so one of the reasons why we have text, and one of the reasons why there have been so many scriptures and canon scriptures that have been taken out of our grasp or removed from public access in the Vatican and wherever else they choose to dig and hide these things, right, behind closed doors, guarded by men, humans, and freakazoids. So because of this, right, this journal, just like those texts, those scribes who wrote in those books, who wrote in those books, these journals, your journals. If you do not have a journal, please get one. Please get one. Please. Okay. It's a testimony. Okay. And it's something that can be left to others. Okay. So these journals that I have, these journals are not just my thoughts and my feelings and emotions and all of that. It's not just a way of manifesting. It's not just a way of affirming. It's all of those things, but it's also proof of the magnificence. And I got that word this morning during my meditation. Magnificence of Most High. Okay? Because no one can deny that, yep, on 7/7, he got a transplant. Sure did. Why? Because there are medical records. That is a document. In this journal confirms that. Yes, he is telling the truth. Yes, it can be confirmed. I started getting cassette tapes in 2002 from The Rock. It can be confirmed that my last tithe to that place was $33.33, and I sent that amount on purpose. That was my farewell. I sent that on purpose. Today I don't believe in tithing to a church. A tithe is to an individual. If we read the book of Enoch and other scriptures that have been hidden from us, we will realize that the tithe and the religious church has been working with the government the entire time of its existence. What we don't see is that. That's what we don't see. They talk about the separation of church and state. The government created the church. How do you think the Roman Catholic Church became the wealthiest organization, religious organization in the world? Because they work with the government in order to create these religions. This is why. Okay? So there is no separation between church and state. Truthfully, spiritually, there is no separation. Legalism is legalism, and religiousness is legalism. That's all religion is legalism. You can do this, you can't do that. 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 I believe Most High really, truly has just one. Have no other God before me. That's it. If you do that, you will learn everything else. Everything else will be easy. If you have no other God before me, you will never fall into temptation of lust. You'll never want for anything. You'll never thirst for anything. You'll never lust after. You'll never desire something that's not yours. You'll never, if you only have no other God before me, okay, I will show you the way. I believe that is the number one and only rule really needed. 14:33 on the clock. Okay, so with that, let's continue. So 21 is the number of maturity. I thought it was 21 on the other page, and I remembered correctly. It's 21. I'm not surprised. It's a number. I won't remember your name, but I'll remember your birthday forever and your face. All right. 4/5/19. Because I tend to go fast, I must often go alone. See, I'm just built that way. Again, all the things that I say most of them are written in, there's proof in here somewhere in the journal, somewhere along the lines. Okay. I say it often. And they say, if you want to go far, go with a group or something, or go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. I know what I'm built for. Okay. And I'm built to be the tiger, the cheetah tiger, the tiger. Is there a tiger? Right. I'm built that way. Right. And that's just how I'm made. Spiritually, physically, that's just how I'm built. All right. Accept how you are. 1555 on the timer. Accept how you are. Again, those things that Most High has given you, not what man tells you you are. Because if I listen to man would tell me I'm nothing. If I listen to the sperm donor, he would tell me I'm sorry, I'm useless, I'm worthless, I'm nothing. He would tell me I didn't deserve this. I don't deserve the blessings. He would tell me all those things. But guess what? Most High says otherwise. And if he calls you blessed, guess what you actually are? Abundantly so. Okay. I should never have to be instructed by man to lift my hands or raise my voice in praise to Yahweh God. Okay. If need and is a part of my personal worship to the Father. Oh, it need and is a part of my personal relationship to the Father. Okay. I'm like, so I'm going to show this gentleman's name only because spiritually his name means something that is not good. So look up that name, Gaston. Okay. Look up that name and tell me what that name means by the Spirit, someone. He's one of the team ministers at the Rock of Central Florida. Yeah. He was the last person to pray for me after he prayed for me for healing for the kidney transplant, or for my kidneys, before the healing arrived, by way of a transplant. After he prayed for me, Most High said, don't have anyone else pray for you. And I didn't for the rest of the time that I was on dialysis. This looks like some notes from, we used to have business meetings for those entrepreneurs or business owners who wanted to be a part of that meeting. We used to have those at Jim's office. You've heard me mention Jim. I mentioned him yesterday several times. Again, you'll see his name in the journal many times because, again, these are people that I enjoy time with, golf with, whatever, had a good time with. So, and they were meant to be in my life at the time that they were. Okay, so let's see here. Financing the kingdom, which was all part of my desire, was to put millions of dollars into Steve's hands so that he could carry on the purpose for which Most High connected him and I, and sent me to that house. But it appears as if that was not the land that I was to sow that into. I was sent to a land of giants, and once I slayed those giants, I was relocated, and they're left to deal with their karma, whoever those individuals are that refuse to change. Okay? So here's a dream on 6/24/19. A never-ending flow or line of gifts that are wrapped. I believe it's about that time. Born for this. The step into it, then step into it. That's Holy Spirit. Okay? So Holy Spirit was saying that 5 years ago. Almost exactly 5 years ago. I'm still born for this. Yep, stepping into it. 7/7, number 21, mark day. Okay, that was the transplant day. Okay. All right. So here comes the first little little memorial thing in my, or second actually. Mario Garcia was the first. I dated his daughter. I didn't know that. He sat next to me for a year and a half in dialysis. And I didn't know that he was the daughter of someone I had dated many years prior. I found that out through our conversation and interaction. Small world. But my life has been marked by things like that. So on 8/3 of 19, my 15-year-old American Bulldog Brutus passed. Okay? And, yeah, I remember I was on my way home from Palm Coast, and Judy called and told me. And, yeah, got there and, yeah, yep. So, and then a friend, gave me, a dozen roses, and, just as a heartfelt gesture. And I took one of those rose buds, whatever, what have you, and I taped them in this book. And that has been there since she gave it to me. She didn't give it to me on probably around 8/20 or something like that. She gave me those roses. I was not dating her or anything. She just did it because she felt, I don't know, felt to. Okay. All right. So, and then step into it. That was still a reminder. I'm not sure. What is the snapping of the fingers? Okay, so back then I had started snapping my fingers, and I would do it. The Rock of Central Florida is a bit freer than most places. Again, although it's still religious, it's a bit freer than most religious places. And so, Steve is open to some things happening that most in the middle of a service that most would not be. Okay. And so, I had started for some reason back in 2018 or something like that. I had started snapping, right? And it would be 3 snaps, and it would just be, if he said something, it would just be, and I just did it. I just started, right? Or I don't know. It would just, like, it just was, right? And then he eventually said something about that. He said what it meant. I never talked to him about it. I never anything, right? He got his own revelation about what that meant, okay? And so I wrote that down there because I had started doing that. And I still do it today. If you notice in the video, sometimes, and most of the time I do it 3 times, right? 23 exactly on the clock when I did that, 23 minutes. It's a call to order. It's an engagement. It's a call to action. Let's go. Come on. It's that. Okay. All right. So, one of my daughter's birthday, 10/6. Today not today. I mean, at this time, she's 26. Oh, okay. So Kim trades in, again, we did trades all the time. Okay. So Kim trades into me, John 21:26. That was key. That deals with me and their son, Joshua. Okay. So I'm writing all these synchronicities down. Joshua wore the number 26 when he played football. Right? So I'm writing all these synchronicities down. And I think their daughter, Kaylee, whose song I played the other day, Here I Am, I think she was more aware than Steve. I don't know if she was more aware than Kim, but she was more energetically aware of energetic connections and stuff like that. I think she recognized those more so. Okay. And again, we never talked about those things, but just, yeah. I think Kaylee and I may have exchanged like over the time, and she's the executive office assistant or whatever for the Rock of Central Florida, and has been for many, many, many years, going back to her teenage years. And we did exchange, I think, one email when I got called, when I had to go back to Pittsburgh for a follow-up, because my creatinine level after the transplant had spiked to like 2.7 or something like that. And so I had to go back up there, and she sent me an email at that time. And at that time, she did reference me and Joshua, and something along the lines of 21 and 26 were related to that, whether she said it or not. And again, she got her own downloads about that. We never talked about it beyond that or anything, but she was, yeah, she was aware of some things. Okay. On 10/17, I did a walk to Emmaus. If you're not familiar with what the walk to Emmaus is, it is a traditional thing. I was invited by the gentleman that I was on a bowling team with at the time, Chris. Not that Chris from The Rock that you've heard me mention of, a different Chris. And it was an amazing experience. There are no electronic devices. It's 3 days of just it was all guys, so it's just 3 days of communing and sharing, pouring out, and just kind of stepping back away from external noise and all of that sort of thing. The gentleman that I met there, so you have to be partnered up with someone, right? Because you have, you get to know them and all that. You go through that exercise. The gentleman, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to be there. I really wasn't. Okay. I was a couple of years out from the transplant, and things were going well. Business was doing good. I was like, I don't know if I want to take the time off because of business and it's only 3 days, but I was really, really drawn to it. And when Chris asked me, I knew it was something that I should do, even though it was not something that was supported by anyone else for me doing. So for instance, I shared information, I think, about it with Steve, and he really didn't have anything to say, and that sort of thing about it. But anyway, I did that, and it was an amazing experience. And in fact, it's on the next page, so I won't say anything about it yet. Just a very, very good experience. That friend that I got connected with there, his name is Steve. So I wrote that down because that was my confirmation that I needed to be there. Okay. One Steve, right, was like, I don't know, that seems strange, or something. I don't agree. Something along the lines of, he wasn't for it. I will say that. Okay. Right. But anyway, so this is what I got. They give you all sorts of things when you go to the walk to Emmaus. Okay. Right. And so this is what I got. Okay. And this is what I put in. This is what I said. So there's a dog. So that's significant. I love dogs. Right? It's a Doberman. We had Dobermans growing up. There's a ladybug. See, all these things mean something different to me now. There's a ladybug. Ladybugs are significant. Look up the meaning of a ladybug. There's a flower. And there's a star. And that's a star. And this, I'm not sure what this is actually. What is that? All right. So, So next, let's go ahead and get going. So now we are getting into the Scorpio relationship. Okay. So I get back from the walk to Emmaus, and I am feeling amazing. I'm feeling uplifted. I'm fresh. I'm ready. Okay. Right. And this is funny that immediately after that, I get through this walk to Emmaus, 10 days later, there it is, 10/28. Born November 13th, 1974. Okay. And that's what I used to call her. All right. Okay. So it says, and I wrote over that. I'm probably going to have to say, forgive me a couple of times, because a lot of these things in regards to her, I wrote over, okay, or scribbled out, or I don't know, you might find a couple not so nice words written over them in black marker or something. I'm thumbing through just trying to see if there's, because, yeah, it's about to get, yeah. So, so we met the 26th of November in 2018. She has 3 children that I am aware of. There may be another family somewhere or some crazy ass shit. I don't even know. Okay. But she has 2 sons and a daughter. The 2 sons are adults. The daughter is still a minor. She's a teenager. Okay. So we were introduced by a mutual friend, on that date, on November 26th of 18, which ironically, okay, is 13 days after her birthday, 3 days before my birthday, and the day of Steve Parker's birthday. I'm not making this shit up. So, okay, and we officially started dating, like October 28th or something, or at least that was like our first date or something like that, right? So remember I told you that I sowed into 3 children, 3 seeds that were not born yet, or 1 that was already, and 2 that weren't, right? And sold into them for an entire year. Sent them gifts and everything for them, for their new seed, the family and all that, whether it was clothes or baby things or what have you. 3 times I did that, over 20 years. And the last was Seth and Stephanie Bosch. And today their son, is here. That was their old address. They don't live there anymore, just in case anyone wants to stalk them. They no longer live there. Yeah, so I wrote that down because that was the address that I will see. See, I said, next sowing 2020. I wrote Mrs. at first and then found out it was a boy. Little Mr. Bosch. Okay. And so, yeah. Right. So I sowed into that seed, into that child for 12 months, and gladly did so. I have no regrets. I know what my harvest is going to be. 11/24. For some time, I am becoming more and more unsatisfied as an accountant. You see that? And that was on 11/24 of 19. Have I outgrown this suit? It's a question we need to ask ourselves on a regular basis. Okay? You see what I wrote over? I wrote karmic third party twin flame. You see I wrote that over there? Right? Okay. Dream 12/119. The leader allowing me to lead. I'm the point man of the platoon. Okay, so those of you who are not familiar in the military, or at least in the Army, they have point men. So when the platoon leader, or who's ever leading, stands up leading the platoon or company or squad or whatever it is that they're happen to be getting ready to lead or march somewhere, you say fall in. And when you say fall in, there is a point man, the first squad leader. That is the point man. Okay. All right. So that individual runs and they stand first, and then all the others, they line up accordingly, every other row or column, etc. Okay. So, I put this in this book because we went to Great Wolf Lodge, me, the Scorpio, and their daughter. 12/15/19 on the calendar. Today doesn't appear to be any special day, but to be joined to a people, a body, a church that is all in. It is so. Okay? And that must have been a pretty awesome day in some way. Okay? And I put on 1/5 that Roxanne was officially part of the Rock of Central Florida. I really shouldn't say her name. Every faith manifestation is one for the quiver. Okay. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I was speechless. This was also the same day, energetically, the same day that Mamba, his daughter, and 7 other people die. The Scorpio meets the Capricorn. So the Scorpio meets my mother, meets Judy. So we're at lunch. Waiter comes over. Excuse me, do you follow basketball at all? And I'm like, I didn't a lot, not at that point in time, but obviously I knew who he was. And he's like, yeah, do you know who Kobe is? I was like, absolutely. He was like, yeah, he just died in a plane crash. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, shut up. I grabbed my phone. I was done. I checked out. I don't even know what I had for dinner, for lunch. I don't know what their conversation was. I don't know anything. I completely checked out. I was on my phone for the rest of the day. I don't even know how I drove. I was on my phone for the rest of the day. I was blown away. I had to call my mother, my daughter's mother, her mother Phyllis. We are huge Lakers fans, and that's one of the bonds that kept that helped us or that was enduring for us over the years. I met her when I was 16 years old, 17 years old, and that was one of those bonds. Was Kobe, was the Lakers, and it was I couldn't believe it. And then she passed a couple years later, and I just. Yeah, and so if you notice, I use Kobe's picture a lot on my videos. I honor him, I love him, and Gigi, and just there, and it has nothing to do with what he did on the court outside of his relentlessness and his fierceness. Okay, outside of that, it's all spirit to me. Okay, it has nothing to do with what he did on the court other than never back down. Okay, and he didn't talk a lot. Okay, all he would just say is, okay, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Matt Barnes with the ball to the face. Okay, you ain't scaring me, dumbass. You see I didn't flinch. Right? So, on 2/2/20, right? Releasing is twofold. His attention to me and his thoughts of me are gorgeous and beautiful. Only love. Okay? And then see, I wrote something there. First indicator of Roxanne bad, and I wrote 222, and I circled that. Again, all has been forgiven with all of that sort of thing. There's no, I've been through that. And It was not easy. And I would never, ever say so. I will never, ever say it was. It could be 50 years down the road. Come ask me. How easy was getting out of that spiritually? How easy was that? I'll tell you, it took 2 years of isolation, dark night of the soul. It took 2 years. Celibacy. It took 2 years. I'll tell you that. Okay? So that speaks to knowing, no longer asking. So when you know, you don't have to ask. I haven't asked the Father for something in a while. Okay? So 3-8-20. Okay? You've heard me talk about her often. I call her my other mother. That's what MOM stands for. And her name is Barbara King. Barbara Cantone King. And she, again, you know the story if you've been with me for any time. Met her again in 1992. Oh, I forgot to mention. The Uber driver that dropped me back off to where I am staying currently, from the hotel from my staycation this weekend, he was born in 1992. Just FYI, November 9th of 1992. His name is Miguel. That's Michael. Archangel Michael might have carried me home this weekend. Anyway, here, met her, 1992, 2010, 2013, 2017, 2018, 19, 2022, and 2024 are recent, just supernatural. You hear the woodpecker outside? Supernatural times for me. In 2010, I finally got back in touch or found out where the sperm donor, my ex-wife that he took when I was in the military and serving overseas in 1998 to be with him, and she stayed with him in that cult for all these years and still is. And all through all of that, and that happened in 1998. She sent me a letter in 2000, or no, 99 when I got housing for us, I think, in Germany. And told me that she didn't want to come over. Come to find out, that was why. Those women had hooked her in. He used witchcraft, hooked her in. Who knows? That might have been his whole reason for me even marrying her in the first place. Just to do something to me. You know what I mean? Because he's an evil-ass, vindictive warlock like that. So, yeah. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, yes. So in 1992, very, very key year, met my great friend Scott, his family, his daughter, not his daughter, his sister Amy, and now her daughter Alyssa, and now there are great grands. So now she has sons, and they're handsome guys, and great. They're little. They're maybe 4 and 3. Yeah, great family. Met my daughter's mother and their family in 1992 as well. 1992, and also inverted, that's 29. That's also the day I was born. That's also an 11. Okay. So I keep going. Again, I mentioned all of these synchronicities, so hopefully to help you pay attention to these things in your own life and patterns if you're not seeing them. Okay, so think back. That was a wild year. Wow, that was kind of crazy. Oh, wow, look at that, and then look at that. Look at this, and then look at that. Right? And do that kind of, go back through self-evaluating your decisions and your journey, and yeah, do that thing. Okay, transcending. Second indicator about the Scorpio. Okay, again, 319, I circled it for a reason. My spirit's disposition changes. Today, it's serious and direct. Yeah, it does. Now I understand that to be energy. 4-5-20. Why do I have a need to be included or selfish? Okay. And so what that means to me is this was pointing to my codependency starting to come out. And the codependency, not like I need someone, but because I grew up in a situation where there was no attention given or very little attention given, because he was so focused on the women, whether that was fucking, sucking, teaching, coaching, whatever he thought he was doing, right? His days were consumed with that. Okay. And so he, again, as I've mentioned, he often missed out on games, award ceremonies, and all sorts of things that I participated in. And me being the eldest, I don't know if he missed out on those things with the others or not, because they're years behind me. Okay. And so, yeah. Right. So I was starting to feel like the Scorpio was starting to maybe not pay so much attention to me. Okay. Also keep in mind, this was during COVID. We did live together, and this was during tax season. So understand, very, very busy, very busy, hectic time of the year for me. And again, I did not understand this. I did not understand how to alchemize, although I had alchemized a lot. I did not understand it as alchemizing at that time. Okay. I was 2 years out yet. Okay. And so, or maybe a year out, I started meditating in 2021, actually. Okay. And so, at least consistently. And so that's what was starting to show up there. And so I had to deal with some codependency there that was starting to rear its ugly head that I needed to deal with. And I did. Okay. Again, the people that come into our lives, they come into our lives to teach us a lesson, if nothing else. What are the blessings for me to receive? I got, during this time, during the month of February, and here between 2/13 and 3/19, I had shingles during that time while living with her. Witchcraft or stress? I don't know. See, third indicator. See, I had gone back through here and I was starting to add some things up. And again, it is what it is today. You know what I'm saying? We make choices and things like that. And yeah. So here's $1. And that, again, I told you that that at the Rock, that we would trade into one another. And this lady, who deals with, is it diabetes she deals with? Yes. Maybe diabetes. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so she deals with something, and she sold into me for healing. And in fact, she did it more than once. And this was not all that she had given me. Just so you know, I put this in here as a representation. Give to the law or give to the harvest. That stands out to me. Give to the law or give to the harvest. Okay. She's good with multiple people on a daily basis. I'm good being by myself. That was just one of our differences that was being pointed out to me. And I'll go through this page and then we'll go ahead and call it a day for today, because we're approaching an hour. Okay. Thank you so much for listening, subscribers and new listeners. If you stayed around, sending much peace and love to you. It's no one's responsibilities to be your happiness, but you. Okay. And so see, I was already starting to see so things, and so me, and I would say me and my silly self again, But I was doing it out of genuine, sincere love and the belief that the synchronicities that I saw were from Most High, and those synchronicities were stronger than whatever it was that was trying to pull us apart. What I did not know is that it's likely that she is part of the team that was really not wanting us to be together, or she was already in a relationship, or already married, or committed to someone else, or another family, or something, right? No good intentions from the start, perhaps. I have no idea. Okay? I don't know. And that's not even of concern today. As you can tell, it's... Because I got a fucking date coming up. You know what I'm saying? Based on the angel cards this morning, I got a date coming. So once I surrendered, I gave in and surrendered my free will to Most High so that he can elevate me. That net is in here. Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender. Above all that have come against me, I don't have anything to worry about. So I got a margarita in my hand. I don't literally, but I will be somewhere, Los Cabos, somewhere in Thailand, somewhere in Fiji Island, somewhere in Dubai, somewhere in some other place. Yeah, I'm going to be vacationing there, and it's going to be beautiful, and all will be returned to me, inheritance, whether that's spiritual or natural, and it's going to be well. Reminding us about Jeremiah 29:11 before we go. For I know the plans I have for you, to prosper you, to give you hope, and to give you a future. My plans are not to harm you, not to do ill will towards you. Okay? Understand that that's Most High's promise to you. Regardless of what the enemy's plans are. You stay true and you stay faithful to your intuition, and Most High will raise you up 52 minutes exactly. That's a 7. Most High will raise you up above your enemies. And they will one day be looking up at you, gawking at your success. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Nehru. This is The Encourager. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can do so a number of ways via social media. I am on Instagram at The Encourager333. You can find me on Facebook at Nehru Patah. It's NEHRUPTAH. You can also find me on Twitter or X as at Nehru Patah. You can email me at theencourager333@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with me on LinkedIn, you can do so. If you would search for Nehru, The Encourager, you will find me there. Thank you so much as always, and be encouraged.